Hi, welcome to today's tutorial. It may seem strange that we started off a tutorial with me drilling a hole through a board and a piece of mat board, but there's a reason for my madness. On our last tutorial, we showed some of the specialty products that Set Shop offers to make photographing beverages much more easy and changing your life from being a life of drudgery into a life where everything goes pretty smoothly. Today, we're going to be talking about using some of those products, but combining it with lighting so that we can take a beauty shot of a product. In this case, we're going to be photographing one of my favorite things, which is a shot of Scotch. Now, whether or not the tutorial is called a shot of Scotch, meaning a photograph of Scotch, or whether or not we're talking about a shot of Scotch that I'm going to drink as soon as this tutorial is over, the idea is that we're going to try to make the Scotch look beautiful and alive and vibrant. One way to do that, and some of you who've seen my still life photography book might remember this, is that when you're photographing a nicely colored translucent object, you can backlight that object so that the translucent color comes through and makes the image more exciting. You're actually accentuating the color of the product so that it makes it more exciting and more alive looking. We're going to be photographing a glass of Scotch today. We're going to be photographing the glass of Scotch, which is an inanimate object. But we're going to try to use light, the energy of light, to add life and to add energy to a glass of Scotch. We're going to try to make the translucent glass of Scotch, the color of the Scotch, seem beautiful and exciting. One of the ways that we're going to do that is we're going to be placing our glass of Scotch right over the hole that we drilled in this tabletop. We're going to clamp a sheet of translucent acrylic right beneath this tabletop, and then we're going to place a light coming up through this hole so that it lights the Scotch from beneath the glass. We clamp the sheet of white translucent acrylic to the underside of our piece of plywood. The white translucent acrylic covers the hole that we drilled at the very beginning of this tutorial. Beneath that, we put an LED video light. During the actual shoot that we're going to create today, we're going to put a flash head down there. But for the time being, we're going to use the LED video light. Notice that we now have like a beautiful light coming up through our glass. Just so that you know we practice what we preach, we're going to put on a pair of white latex gloves, if I can get them straight. I really don't need both of them. I can deal with just one, but I have a tendency when I work on the set to like to wear a pair, because that way I'm free to touch my products with either hand and I don't really have to worry about leaving a fingerprint. Now, we're going to take one of the pristine ice cubes that the Set Shop sells, and we're going to place it in the glass. Notice, if you will, that we have a beautiful light coming up through the glass. We're going to take a little bit of Scotch. That's because I don't want to waste it. And I'm going to half cover or 3/4 cover the acrylic ice cube. Okay. I'm going to recap the Scotch because I want to save it and put it off to the side. What we've accomplished now is we have light coming up through the bottom of the acrylic and through the Scotch, and it's lighting it from a place where you can't see the light source. The fact that you can't see it makes the lighting more mysterious. The fact that the light is coming from beneath the table makes this one of the lightest parts of the picture. it makes our liqueur, the liqueur we're photographing, almost glow. What we're trying to do is something surreal. We could photograph this glass of Scotch just the way it is and come up with a really nice image. Whoa, stop. Houston, we have a problem. Because of the high camera angle where we were shooting almost directly down into the glass of Scotch, all of a sudden, we could see the wood substrate beneath our mat board. In the course of doing a still life photograph, problems always pop up, and you've got to get used to fixing them or seeing them and changing them as you continue. What we decided to do in this instance was to take a small sheet of Set Shop diffusion material, Set Shop Tough Lux, and slip it between the wood substrate and the mat board, all the way into our set, so that all of a sudden you no longer could see the wood. We can continue now because, Houston, we've solved the problem. Part of the concept of this photograph is to try to say that when you finish a bottle of Johnnie Walker Blue and you're a Scotch drinker, it's a depressing situation. So the next part of this set is to have the bottle of Johnnie Walker Blue inverted without the cork on and nothing coming out of it right over this glass. To do that, we're going to have to add a cross piece running across the top of our set. And the bottle is going to be clamped, the bottom of the bottle is going to be clamped to that cross piece so that you won't see it in the photograph. The final photograph is going to be the glowing glass of Scotch and the neck of the Johnnie Walker Blue bottle here. The final thing, because I have commercial aspirations for this picture, is to take the label on the Johnnie Walker Blue bottle, even though it's going to be upside down, and shine a 10-degree gridded spotlight on it to accentuate the label. That's what we're going to try to accomplish next. It's been a while since we shot video for this tutorial. That's because we were busy shooting and perfecting a still photograph of the bottle hung over the glass with the light coming up through it. We used a bar clamp to hold the bottle in position, and the bar clamp has rubber pads on it so it could get a good grip on the bottle, and we were sure that it wouldn't fall. We passed 2 layers of rope through the bar clamp, between the bar clamp and the bottle up here, and then we passed it over our crossbar that we added twice. And by adjusting the position of the rope and moving it one way or the other on the bar clamp itself, we were able to change the angle of the bottle until we got it to hang straight down, directly over the glass of Scotch. We finally brought in a boom light with a 10-degree grid on it, with a sheet of Set Shop Tough Lux on it to bounce off the label and make the gold lettering pop. We also came up with a few other changes that we had to do. We've changed the glass. We changed the glass. We added another acrylic ice cube. We added more Scotch. Some of you might say, why did you do that? The problem is that the horizon line of the Scotch interfered with the horizon line of the table back here. And that became a really distracting part of the image. At first we thought about taking it out with Photoshop, and then we decided that it would just be easier at this point in the proceedings to go for a different glass, more ice cubes, and increase the amount of Scotch in our glass. We also, at this point, changed the light under the table from an LED panel to a flash head so that we could get a more accurate color rendition of everything we were shooting. What you're looking at right now is a picture that was taken by the lights that we were shooting video with and an LED panel. We were using gelatin filters on some of the lights to try to balance everything one to the other, but we actually used a rheostat on a light that was here behind the table, and that light that was lighting the background went orange. We weren't happy with our color balance, the professionalism, the slickness of how the photograph looked. So, between that and all the other changes we made, we were finally satisfied with the photograph. We felt we were ready for prime time. The final thing we're going to do, or the next thing we're going to do, is we're going to move this bar clamp from the center of the bottom of the bottle, clamping it like this, to one corner, which will make the bottle tilt forward, with the spout of the bottle being here. When the bottle tilts forward, we were going to go to a lower camera position. We're not going to see the Johnny Walker label, and we're going to see the oval opening of the bottle and the circular opening of the glass. So we're trying to get to a more graphic representation of a photograph. It's sort of cutting it down to the elements. It's a relatively simple variation on what we've done before. We've gone through a lot of different journeys today. We've actually started off with shooting just the glass of Scotch and shooting down in it. We very carefully made the bottle hang straight down. We were compulsive about getting every letter on the label of the bottle to show. But sometimes what you really want to do is just break a picture down to its barest elements. A sense of color, a sense of place, a sense of feeling. You're just looking for a way to express that. The final shot that we did, instead of the bottle hanging straight down, we changed the way it was balanced by putting this bar clamp in the middle of it, see? So that the bottle hung at an angle like this. We used the light that would reflect off the lip of the spout of the bottle to reflect off the Scotch to make it look the same warm golden color that the Scotch looked at. As we went to a higher camera angle so we could shoot down into the glass and see the circular shape of the glass and the circular shape of the spout of the bottle. It's a picture that we eliminated a whole bunch of elements and a whole bunch of things that were driving us crazy just a couple of hours ago. Does that make this picture better than the one we did previously? No. Doesn't. Does that make this picture worse than the one we did previously? No, it doesn't. They're just different pictures. And each one of them has attributes and things about it that we can love and things about it that we can hate. The whole idea is that this type of work is a springboard. You're trying to make your viewer have an emotion, a feeling. In the perfect world, I'd want him to go out and run into his local neighborhood bar and ask for a Scotch on the rocks. The whole idea is that I'm just trying to express myself photographically. It's what we all try to do here. So, it's been a great couple of hours working with you today. I personally can't wait to drink the Scotch in this glass. I'm going to replace the beautiful acrylic ice cubes with real ice cubes. I'm going to kick off my shoes, sit back, and smile, because I created a lot of really nice pictures today.